Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest this week is Lauren Spear, and she is the owner and creator of the multiple award-winning LittleZotzWriting. She's written hundreds of byline posts helping freelance writers to become better freelance writers. Thousands if you count all the things she's ghostwritten, but she's not allowed to talk about those. She's also the founder of HorrorFam.com, a community-based website for horror enthusiasts. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, Jim. Good to be here.
This has taken a while today. I don't want to hide anything from our viewers. This has been a struggle. I've been fumbling over my words. Everything's gone wrong. We've heard hums and things and stuff, but we're here now, and I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you.
So what I want to start out with is what made you decide to become an entrepreneur, and we'll go with that first.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, like why I started LittleZotzWriting and my own business and all that.
Yeah, why you wanted to do your own thing rather than work for somebody else, basically.
Necessity, pretty much. I had. Sorry.
It's okay. We've both been doing that today, so you're allowed one. I had like 4, so it's totally good. Maybe 10. I don't know. I wasn't counting.
Okay, so, going back in time here, in 2009, I had been doing freelance writing jobs basically since I was 15. I'm going to be 35 in January. So about 20 years I've been doing freelance writing and editing. And in 2009 or thereabouts, I moved, and I ended up leaving the job that I was working at the time. I was working at Del Taco as a cashier. And then I just couldn't find a job at the new town I was living in, and I pretty much just done cashiering jobs at retail and food services and things like that. And then a friend of mine, Danielle Lynn, who used to be known as the Clear Copywriter, suggested that I just make writing my sole source of income, since I was good at it, and she was already making a ton of money as a copywriter. And I went, well, I can't seem to find any cashiering jobs around, so I might as well make my side job my real job. And that's pretty much it. It was basically just, I really need the money.
That makes sense. I'm going to take these off. They glare on the screen, so I'm going to take those off there. No, I'm blind. So I'm just kidding. No, that's true, though. A lot of people do their own thing out of necessity, or it's just some burning desire inside of them to change things for themselves. But for you, it was, hey, I couldn't find a job, and then here I am. I got to use the resources and things that I know.
Yeah. So, basically, it's just, I wasn't really a very good cashier, but that was like all I had ever done. So, I was looking for, fast food and retail jobs, and I just could not find any.
Wow.
And the only other thing, the thing that I'm actually good at, is writing and editing. But I'd never even really considered making it a career. It was always just kind of like, oh, that's my side thing that I do. That'll never be a real thing. And then I ended up in a position where I was forced to make it become a real thing, and it's been my sole source of income ever since.
Since when? Is it? What did you say? 2009, or when did you say?
Oh yeah, well, I moved in 2009, and then I went through quite a few months of unemployment and floundering around, and then in August of 2010, I opened LittleZotzWriting
Oh, nice.
officially, and that was it. So this is It's been over 9 years. So.
Wow. So on that journey, you just went and did it. I mean, did you have any like either internal or external struggles launching LittleZotzWriting, or is that something that happened for you, or did it just like take off?
Well, if anyone hears anything weird in the background, it's my hamster. He's running a marathon in his wheel.
Joined the show, so that's fine. We've had a cat last time, so or a couple. Last time we had a cat, so
yeah.
Cats are welcome.
Struggles. Yeah, just every day is a struggle.
Yeah, we know. For me too, every day is kind of that way.
But with the actual launch of the site, I guess one of the main problems I had was, I'm not very tech savvy even now, so learning my way around WordPress was challenging. Fortunately, one of my first... Huh?
That can be a bugger.
Yeah, one of my first jobs was working for WP Pro Business, and it was a site. It's not around anymore, but it was owned by Adam Warner, and he invented like Foo plugins and did a bunch of other stuff later on. But wow. It was a site about WordPress, and so I had to learn how to use WordPress in order to work for them, and so
that makes sense.
it all ended up working out in a way. And oh man, yeah, I started out in the content mills like Textbroker and those places, okay. And doing 2,000 words for $5 and stuff
right.
like that.
I was going to say that because there are people that don't know what that is. I have a bunch of different listeners that from a bunch of different backgrounds, and so can you explain what a content mill is?
Basically, it's a place where you go in and there's a bunch of articles that are needed, mm-hmm. and some of the sites they force you to bid on the project, and everyone kind of tries to out cheap each other to get the job. Mm. And the one that I was working for was Textbroker, and basically it was just whoever grabs this first gets to write it, and you would be working for 50 cents sometimes, like
wow.
Just it's rock bottom prices that they're offering these writers, but if you do like 100 of them a day, then you could make $10.
I don't know that that's wonderful, but
no,
you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
But at the same time, I was also writing just kind of a personal blog on Blogger. I think it's still up, but it was just me rambling about my everyday life, and that ended up being what got me work, because people just like, I was fortunate enough that some people stumbled upon that and recognized that my writing was decent, even nice. When I was just rambling about myself, and like, oh, I went to the skating rink today, or like just everyday stuff, and
right.
That ended up getting me my first like major position in October of 2010, like very shortly after I announced that, okay, I'm a full-time freelance writer now, like somebody hire me. And it was my personal blog that got me my first big job, which was at Rizark production company, and they were partnered with G4 TV at the time for a show called Champions of Champions Elite, which was basically focused on Muay Thai fights.
Okay.
And I ended up writing the blog for that show back when it was on. So
That's cool.
And then, things just started coming in after that. So I was very lucky.
See, I hear a lot of times that people are an overnight success, and I've discussed with people a couple of weeks in a row now, basically, about that. I don't think that's true. I think that people build and build and build and overcome fears and things like that, and hustle and do all these things to make it. And I don't know what you feel about that.
Well, I've had to restart my career a few times since I started it. Not like a full hard reset, but like a soft reset. Like I've just
like a pivot.
Well, it's kind of like I'm my own worst enemy, I guess. Where I would go through because for quite a bit of my life I was struggling with depression and other like mental health issues, and it took a long time to get that sorted out. So every once in a while, like every time I would start to become that, overnight success, doing so well on top of the world, blah, 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 I would have a setback due to my own mental issues. And then I would have to, get myself together and restart almost from scratch each time. So like in 2014, in 2014 I had a suicide attempt, and then I ended up in a mental hospital for a while, and then after I got out from that, I ended up losing all the clients that I had. I lost all the jobs that I had. And so it was just like, I had just gotten out of the hospital, and then like I didn't really have anything except for Sophie Lizard at Be a Freelance Blogger. She was the only person who stuck with me, and I am forever
really
grateful.
Cool. I've talked to her before, and she's going to be on the show as well. But she's really something.
Yeah, she's an angel. It's just I'm so grateful for her. Because she was the only person who stuck with me and who gave me a second chance, and then I was her managing editor at Be a Freelance Blogger for over 5 years.
Wow.
And but yeah, after that happened, it was just I was like, okay, I'm better now, and there's nobody here to hire me. So
right. And that's such a shame that people don't realize how much people actually go through on a day-to-day basis, and the people that have mental health issues. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's important for the listeners to understand, is that we're not all perfect. We don't all have everything together, and there's stuff that we have to battle through and get through, and sometimes it's difficult stuff. We get to a certain point and we just break down. On the inside we start to crumble, and I've noticed that in a few people that I've talked to that have almost a fear of success in some certain ways. That might not be the same thing that you were going through, but there's something in your subconscious, or there's something inside that says, pump the brakes, that's not me, I don't want to be that person, and all of a sudden everything crumbles for you. And I've seen that over and over again.
And it takes a lot of work to get past that. And I've been doing really well for several years now, because 2014 was 5 years ago, and that's half a decade. So I've been doing well for about half a decade now.
That's really good. It's good to hear.
And I actually, a couple months ago, I wrote a very long personal post on LittleZotzWriting about what I went through with depression and, all the things that basically caused my depression and what I went through to treat it and what I went through to eventually I ended up getting off of my medications, all of them.
Good.
And just all that stuff. And so if anybody wants to know my exact story, I have it all written down. It's out there. People can read it. So
That's littlezotzwriting.com, correct?
Just littlezots.com.
littlezots.com. I just want to be clear so that the listeners can go and check that story out, because I think it will be incredible for people to hear. I do.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so, yeah, I'm serious. I think they should go there and see that. And because I know some of it, because I know a little bit. But it's like people don't understand what goes on the inside sometimes of entrepreneurial people that are out there and think we're doing all great and everything and we're killing it and stuff, and sometimes it's not the truth. Sometimes we struggle just like all other human beings do.
Yeah, it's so weird because 2014 was the first year that I started winning awards for my writing and my website and my business, and I was just like, oh man. And then so on from an outsider's perspective, it's like, well, Lauren's doing great. She's winning all these awards. She's got all these people reading her thing, and then on the inside, I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
And that's not a laugh. I mean, I get it. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on, even in me, and doing this and putting myself out there. It's not hard for me, but yet again, there's certain things that I get that pump the brakes thing on. The heart thing goes kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you should be doing this one action, but you're doing all the other ones to avoid the one.
Yeah.
So I get into that a little bit. I mean, that's still me right now.
I think imposter syndrome comes to play for a lot of people too, and I guess myself included. Even now, it's like, I'm like, why would they want me to be on the podcast? I haven't done anything.
But you have, though. You got award-winning. You have an award-winning blog. I mean,
I do, yeah.
That's not nothing, Sometimes okay. So I've said this. And we've talked about the imposter syndrome for I think 2 episodes now. This will be our 3rd, but that's fine. I like it. Here's the thing, though. We always look at ourselves in the mirror and we find every flaw. We find everything wrong with us, whether it's our body or it's our face or it's this or it's that or it's something inside that we see in ourselves. The outside people looking at people, sometimes they try to look at the best things in us. You know what I mean? Not everybody. I'm not saying that everybody's wonderful and, everything's great, because that's not true. But I think entrepreneurs and people that, most of the people in that group, they look at you and they see a lot more than what you see in yourself. A lot more of the positive things, know? Because when I look in the mirror, I'm like, hey, well, it's just me. So, it's like, whatever. I haven't won no awards or nothing like that. So I'm interviewing somebody I think is better than me. You know what I mean? Because you've done something, right?
Oh, thank you.
That's an accomplishment. That's what you take home and say, wow, that I can't believe that. That's amazing to me. I don't have any of those yet. So that's okay. We're going to get there someday. But I agree with you that the imposter syndrome, or thinking that who's going to listen to me, what do I have to offer the world, those things are prevalent.
Yeah.
Everybody I've talked to has went through it.
Yeah.
Everybody I've talked to.
I believe it.
Because we don't think we're so much. And on this show, I try not to tell anybody I'm so much. I had the glasses on, those things glare in the light, so I took them off, and I'm blind as a bat. I really am.
Yeah.
We had so much struggle getting this together because of all the hums and this and that, and the microphones didn't work right, and everything was not going well. But you know what? We do it anyway. I just keep going. But I want everybody to know how real that this is,
Yeah.
entrepreneurial truth. It's the truth about what we're trying to do, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Mm.
Although
No,
there
it's
is benefits. I mean, there is good things that happen, and yeah, there are people that succeed, crazy succeed, but they don't succeed overnight. It is a journey. It is a journey of self-realization. I totally believe that. I believe your business mirrors you as a person, and it will only grow as you do. And so the more you grow and the more you can beat these things that you went through, the bigger your business is going to be, and the better you're going to communicate with everybody. That's the way I believe. I mean, I might be wrong, but I doubt it. No, I'm just kidding. So you've talked about some of the struggles that you have been through. Let's talk about some of the successes. You're talking about awards and things like that, but I mean, you're living off of what you're doing, right? I mean, you make a living off what you do. There were so many people that would be like, "Oh my God, I want to be her. I want to be out of this job that I hate. I want to be on my own, doing my own thing." It takes courage, and I see that in you.
Oh, well, thank you.
You've been through a ton, and I think that it takes a lot more than people think to put yourself out there like you just did today. And it takes a lot of courage. It really does. So I appreciate you sharing with me, the struggle that you've been through.
No problem. I mean, I already shared it with, the world. So I might as well share it again with you.
Yeah, I mean, but it shows people that are listening and watching this that, like I said, that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but yet it's all not terrible either.
No.
It's a journey. It's something that will...
A lot of ups and downs, and
as
long as the ups outweigh the downs, it's all worth it.
Oh, right. It's worth it. Okay, so what advice would you have for somebody that's just starting out who is kind of stuck where they're at? They're not making anything yet, but they're putting in all kinds of time, and it's hard because the job, if I would go back to the job, I'd start making money, that type of thing. What kind of advice would you give to those just starting out?
Well, I mean, they really don't have anything to lose in particular. Like, you either try and you fail and things remain the same as they are now. Which, if the way things are now is fine with you, then, that's fine. And then,
right.
Or you try and you succeed, and then things get better. So it's either stay the same or better. There's no getting worse. So
that's really good. That's really, really good. That's the first time I've heard that. So that's really good. Yeah, it is. Well, it's a no-lose situation, really, if you think about it.
It really is. The same thing I tell when I mentor writers about the pitching process. It's the exact same thing. It's like either you send in your pitch or your article and the publication likes it and they publish it, and that's awesome, or they reject you and then you're just in the exact same spot you were before you submitted it. It's like they're not nothing.
Now, if they reject you, I'm not familiar with this whole process. If they reject you, do they tell you why?
Sometimes.
Or do they just say no? Because that actually could help you to get better if they're telling you what you did wrong.
Whenever I work as an editor someplace, I like to tell people what they did that got them rejected and how they could improve, and all that stuff. But a lot of editors don't have the time or don't want to do that, so
they just say you suck and that's it.
Depending on where you go, yeah.
Yeah, hey, you suck, bye, next time. No. I mean, but that's helpful though if they can get that information and stuff to help them to grow as well. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I always try to, since I'm a freelance writer myself, whenever I work as an editor, I try to put myself in the shoes of the person who's writing in and provide the feedback that I would want to hear and be most interested in learning from. So, but it depends on who the editor is and what their policies are. You may or may not even get a response. So
So are you still an editor? Yeah, or basically you're an editor for your own thing then, right? Or
actually, I just started a new job last week.
oh
I'm
wow.
now, yeah. Well, I was doing a trial period, and then I got officially hired on last week. Or no, yeah, last week, last Monday. Last Monday was an exciting day. I launched my new business, and I got hired for a new job.
Wow.
I'm
Wow. Let's learn about the new business. Let's learn about the new business in a bit. I want to get to the job first. What do you do?
I'm the associate editor at wellme.com,
Okay.
and it's a publication. It's a women's health and fitness publication. It talks
Oh,
about, like,
nice.
dieting and working out, and lifestyle and beauty, and all that kind of
Oh,
all
cool.
that good stuff. Yeah.
So you started that last Monday, and then you started a new business Monday. So tell me
Yeah.
about the new venture.
Okay. I opened up a website called horrorfam.com,
Oh,
and
you
it's
mentioned that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a community-based website for horror enthusiasts, so people who like,
Nice.
horror movies and horror television shows and comic books and podcasts and like all that fun stuff. And basically, it's I uh, I had been wanting to open up this website for years now, but didn't really have, I guess, the courage to do it, because
Oh, okay.
for some, uh, we'll see what happens. But when I was first starting out with LittleZotzWriting and everything, I I made it a little bit quirky because it had hand-drawn illustrations and
Oh,
things
okay.
like that for the blog posts instead of stock photos, and
Okay.
I made it a little unique and quirky, but that was kind of like as far as I wanted to push my quirkiness factor. So, um, but the truth is, I grew up in the horror industry.
Oh, really?
My parents are both practical special effects artists, and
Wow.
they did a lot of the special effects for horror and sci-fi movies in the 80s and 90s.
Any ones that we know?
Uh,
I gotta ask.
yeah, actually, there's probably quite a few of them. It's like From Beyond, Critters 2, Beetlejuice,
Oh, wow.
the,
Beetlejuice. That's a
the
big one.
1988 remake of The Blob, Little Monsters, Alien Nation.
Wow.
Um, yeah, just Star Trek 6, Joe versus Volcano. Just like they were,
Wow.
they
Wow.
were
Wow. Holy cow.
um,
That's awesome.
Halloween
That's amazing.
3.
Wow.
Um,
Michael Myers.
well, Halloween 3 is the one that doesn't have Michael Myers, but
Really? I didn't know that because I'm not really that
yeah.
into it. All I know is that man has courage because he can wear a William Shatner mask. I don't think I could ever do that. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
But
And
anyhow, that is amazing. So you got into the horror genre, right? Because
yeah,
of your parents.
so yeah, it was just something that I grew up with, and so, horror movies were never scary for me. They were more comforting because it's like, oh, those are my friends, like I would go in and
Right.
like
Right.
when my parents were working, or my dad was working on Critters and Critters 2 and everything, I would go into the effects shop and, like, kiss all the critters, even the ones on the big
Right.
critter ball, and
Oh, that's cool.
like I went to the screening for that movie, the cast and crew screening, and like I was completely surprised that it was a horror movie. I'm like, oh, why are my friends behaving so badly? They're
Yeah,
being
really
very rowdy.
poorly brought up trends there. I think I don't know. Maybe, 'cause they're committing atrocities.
Yeah, but so I grew up in that world with horror special effects and actors, and just all these monsters all around all the time. Even
Wow.
now, I my husband and I live with my parents, and my parents still do horror related art and stuff for private collectors.
Oh,
And
nice.
so they're always walking by with, like rubber monsters, and it's just like, oh
Well,
yeah.
that makes for a creepy household. I don't know. I don't know if I
Yeah,
could do all
my
that.
mom walked by earlier with a timber wolf mask, which is it's like a werewolf, but it's white.
If they walk by, they can come on here. That would be great. That would be outstanding. Okay, I have to ask you something because I'm familiar with blogging, but I don't know how you make money doing blogging. Can you explain that to people, how you actually make money doing that?
Oh, well,
Or you don't. Okay.
sometimes you don't. It really depends. It's a lot of the time the money that you some people can make money from their own blog, but by inserting affiliate links or this and that and the other thing. I don't really do that myself. The way I make money from my own blog is kind of in a more roundabout way. Like I use my blog as a showcase of my writing, and then if people like my writing, then they'll pay me to write something for them. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
But
kind of a sample of what you do.
yeah, like
That's really good.
for me, my blog is more just a portfolio piece of what I'm capable of, and especially since I'm primarily when I do write, I'm primarily a ghostwriter, and so most of the things that I've written, you'll never know it was me.
For those of us who don't know what a ghostwriter is, explain that for me, will you? Because I don't. I know it, but some people may not.
Okay, so basically, like, if you wanted to write a book, but you didn't have the talent to write your own book or the time or whatever, you would hire me, and I would write the book for you, but it would still get published under your name.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now when you do that, do you try to be in the language of the person that is writing? Is that difficult? I mean, that seems like it would be hard to do.
It depends. If it's someone that you is kind of similar to yourself anyway, then that makes it even easier. If it's someone who's very different from yourself, then it gets a little trickier, and you have to spend a lot more time with the person and try to study them and get to know them. And for a while I was writing as a man, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, well actually a lot of the ghostwriting I've done has been for men, writing as men, and yeah, it's just these businessmen who want to be published authors because for whatever reason, but
I think it's just something in their byline or their resume that just looks a lot better, makes them more credible.
Yeah, but they don't have the writing skills or the time to do it, so they hire me to do it for them.
And, so say I wanted a book done because I want to be better than what I am right now. I'm just kidding. Yeah. How much would you charge to write a book? I mean, how much does that cost?
Oh, it varies, but whenever I do ghostwriting, I always charge double because with bylined work, I get the money and I get, a testimonial, I get, a nice portfolio piece, I get additional things other than the money.
Kind of like marketing tools in a way.
Yeah, but with ghostwriting, all you get is the money. So you have to make the money worth it, because you're not going to get a testimonial from fancy businessman saying, yeah, this chick did a really good job pretending to be me. So
that's true. You're not going to
get testimonials. You're not going to get any portfolio pieces, because you're not allowed to talk about the things that you ghost wrote for people. And just like But yeah, like a while back, it was this was a few years ago, but this guy I was ghostwriting as was up for the same award that I was up for.
Oh no! So you're competing against yourself, really?
Yeah, it was like, oh no.
Either way, you win. But you know,
Yeah.
if you personally, then you can say I won. But if
Yeah.
that works, do you have to have a contract or something with the people that say you won't tell them, or won't tell anybody, or is that what happened?
There's non-disclosure agreements and everything to, like, you know, if you tell anyone that you were pretending to be me, I'll sue you, you know, like, so it's just like,
That's wonderful.
I'm not gonna say.
We are not asking on this show, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah, ghostwriting is very good money, but you know, make sure that you have no ego and you know, do other things on the side. One of the things that I ran into trouble with was, you know, I was doing really well with my ghostwriting, but then publicly nobody knew that I was even doing anything at all. So
you're kind of in the Stargate program. No, I'm just kidding. You ever seen Stargate, the SG-1 thing, where the guy or Atlantis or whatever, where the scientists, they haven't had any papers published in like 7 years, but they've been doing all this stuff for the government or whatever. That's kind of, you know.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like I was working hard, you know, I was doing all this stuff, but since it was all ghostwriting, I couldn't share any of it, or
you got
you
no
know,
credit for anything. So really, yeah, basically, the people think you've been idle for all this time.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good advice. So Lauren says her advice for if you're a ghostwriter, or if you want to be one of those, make sure that you put out some other content too, so people know you're still alive.
Yes.
That's basically what that is right there.
And I need to follow my own advice as well, because some of my stuff is falling behind because I got, you know, into that sort of trap again. Where it's like, because also since I do a lot of editing work, even though I'm allowed to talk about my editing work and where I work as an editor and all that stuff, it's just, you know, nobody really sees what editors do. They just kind of exist. So basically. Yeah,
they can't see any new content from you.
Yeah, so
I'm working as the editor.
Yeah.
Okay. So with this new horror thing, you said you were launching a new business. Is it a business, or is it just a blog, or how are you marketing that?
Well, it's mostly it's a community-based website for horror enthusiasts, and it's half blog and half forum. So people, and I'm the head editor and the founder, and there's an open call for submissions if anyone wants to write an article for horrorfam.com, and I'm working as an editor there too, and a writer.
But then again, maybe, and this is the thing I get confused with, I guess, with the writing aspect. I'm not a writer per se, although I can do it. I'm not terrible at it, but you know, I can, but I don't. I usually farm that out to somebody else if I don't got time or whatever. But the blog thing it's interesting because I'm still not clear on how you make money on that. Is this one still going to be the same type of thing where you're writing something and then it's to get hired to do something else, or is there a different strategy on this one?
Well, on this site, we sell advertising spaces on the site. So right now there's 3 things up there. People bought 3 sidebar ads. So there's one for Indie Film Wisconsin, and they're actually giving like a pretty hefty discount to horrorfam.com readers if they decide to enter the film festival. So that's pretty cool. And then two books that are on Amazon Kindle, and so those advertising slots got sold. And then there's also a Patreon page, and then we also sell merchandise, like branded merchandise,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, with all the little monsters that we created for the site and
Oh,
our
that's
our
neat.
logo and everything. Yeah, it's
That is really
the
cool.
stuff in the store is really cool.
So you sell little
So,
monsters. Those aren't
um,
kids, are they? No, I'm just kidding. There's no
no,
children
yeah,
being
there's
sold there,
actually
baby
if you go to the about page on horrorfam.com and scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a link to a hidden page that introduces all the monsters by name and what their little backstories are.
You might want to put that up top. That sounds interesting. I think people would like that. I like that. I don't know. I mean, that's me, but okay. So we'll go back to the because we
They
went.
can also find it in the FAQ section because it's,
Oh, okay.
do the monsters have names? And it's like, yes, here they are.
They are.
Yeah. People can find it if they want to find it.
I think it's rather interesting. I do. I think it is a really cool concept, and I think people will like that. So I think that people should go to horrorfam.com. That's correct, right?
Yes.
And we're going to the bottom of the page.
Yeah. And,
under what?
about if you click on about and you read all about the site and all about myself, then there's a little link they can click on to read about the monsters. Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. What things? I'm trying to put this in a way that I don't want you to have to say too much or whatever if you don't want to, but what other things have become obstacles, either physical, like, I don't know, like we had tonight, maybe that type of thing, on your journey as an entrepreneur? You said some of the internal struggles. What were some of the external struggles, like maybe money or, whatever?
Mostly money. Mostly money. Though it's kind of an odd situation because if I were living anywhere other than Los Angeles, I would be doing very well for myself. But since I live in the most expensive city in the United States, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Because I think Lynn said on the first one we did that she was in California for a while, and it was hard to make ends meet there.
Yeah.
I'm in Michigan, land of winter, basically. I mean, we live right by the lake, so it's awesome. I mean, it's really neat, but the snow is incredible. It's like 100 inches a year average.
Yeah, my husband is originally from Ohio.
That's close.
Yeah, he just moved out here in January and just
he's probably amazed.
Yeah. It was so funny because he got off of the plane when he first arrived at the airport at LAX, and he's like, "There's more people here at the airport than I've seen in my entire life." And I'm like, "Well, get used to it."
Wow, that is something. Because it's like here, there's only 2 seasons in Michigan: winter and construction. That's basically the 2. But I can't say too much bad. It's very beautiful here. It really is.
Yeah, here it's like hot and hotter.
Hot and hotter. Here it can range from 100 degrees, and we don't get that very often in the summer, to 17, 20 below in the winter. And I mean, at the worst, I think it's been wind chills. I've seen wind chills negative 30, something like that.
Oh my God.
But that's not all the time. It's not all the time at all. I mean, that's the exception rather than the norm. But still,
when it gets down to like 60 degrees, I'm wearing 3 layers.
Yeah, it's probably not 60 degrees right now. More than likely. It was a high of 65 or something today.
Oh man, no, it's 88 today, I think. So.
Well, I am jealous. Don't like to be that way, but But anyway, back to entrepreneurial. We get off topic. Well, if I could talk, pretty easy. That's okay though. So, anything else that you want to add or share with people today? I'm going to leave it up to you, and then we'll close out.
Well, I guess I would say try to cook at home as much as you can, because when you're starting your own business and when you're running your own business, you're going to be sitting around a lot and you get very, sedentary. And then, you start to pack on the pounds. So
That is true.
The temptation is there to eat out, especially when the money starts coming in. The temptation is going to be there to eat out for every meal, or to order takeout for every meal, and that could get you into trouble. um, like, I'm a lot smaller now than I was even just a year ago.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
I'm 5'3", and last year I hit my peak weight. Like, I was 320 pounds August of
Wow.
last year, and now I'm 260.
There
So
you go.
I'm dropping back down, but someone who's 5'3" should not be 300 pounds. So,
Yeah,
but
but there's people that struggle with their weight, and it's a difficult thing for them. Some people think
yeah,
it's, oh, what's wrong? You should just be able to lose it easy, and I don't think that's the case
no,
for everyone. I don't think that some people it's really hard.
yeah,
You know?
it's just, especially when you're running your own business and everything, it's so easy to let your physical health and your mental health go,
Deteriorate. Yeah. Oh,
deteriorate. So,
here's another question. I was going to ask you, how does time management work for you? Since you're your own boss, I mean, do you find yourself having a scheduled time, or how do you work that with people around, mom and dad around, the husband around? How do you deal with that type of thing?
you just you just buckle down and do what you got to do. I mean, uh, most jobs, as long as the deadlines are met, you're good to go. It doesn't really matter. Well, when you're a freelancer, basically being a freelancer means you can work whenever you want to, just so long as your deadlines are met and you provide the product or service that you promised to provide.
So
So that
is deadline day kind of hectic, or?
not if not if you manage your time right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
I'm getting at, though. That's what I was kind of trying to ask, because you got everybody involved, the hamster and
yeah,
everyone
I've
else,
got 2 hamsters, 3 cats. We've got a whole
and
thing
it's like
here, but
everything could
um,
be a distraction. So, do you have times where you just shut yourself in a room and say, "Don't bug me," or how does that kind of work with the relationships there?
um, well, my parents are freelance artists, and my husband is also a freelance writer. So
Oh,
we all
awesome.
kind of understand
Okay,
the lifestyle and what's going on, and just um, leave each other alone during work hours. But
there you
um,
go. Okay, that makes sense. That's
but
good.
yeah, for me, even though I'm not an employee, um, I try to manage myself like I am an employee. Like,
Okay.
I make myself work from Monday to Friday, and take weekends off. I try to keep a normal schedule, though a lot of the time I end up working really, really late at night.
Yeah,
Um,
I know the feeling.
just yeah, and, like, I'm kind of a night owl. That's when my blood sugar levels out and I'm feeling my best. So that's when I do most
Plus,
of my work, is
it's
in
also
the evenings and
quieter,
night.
isn't it? Don't you think it's
It's a lot
quieter?
quieter, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's the same for me too. I have a thing like that too, where I just need sometimes where, and I really shouldn't be up that late, but there's times I don't get any sleep because I'm doing this or I'm doing something else, or,
Yeah.
trying to get things done basically. But yeah, that's good. That's really really good.
But yeah, like, after this, I'm gonna be going to the gym with my husband, and then after the gym, it's dinner, and then after dinner, it's work time.
Nice job.
And
Look
oh,
at
thank
that.
you.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
yeah, I try to have some sort of structure. Like, we try to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then
Right.
work in the evenings and try to get sleeping and errands done in the day, and just try to keep it fairly structured.
That's good though, but you have to do that or you fall behind on everything.
Oh yeah, and the gym thing is recent. Like, we just joined the gym in August, but we've already made so much progress, and that was actually another reason why I went after the job at wellme.com. Was I really liked their positive approach to staying healthy, and I was like, yeah, I want to be around people who think positively about getting healthy. So I fought pretty hard to get my position there, because I thought that working for a health and wellness company would
that will help you
motivate
out. Yeah.
me and
Sure.
inspire me to stay on track with my own health and fitness goals. So
That's
that
good.
was one of the reasons why I went after that job so hard. So I was really happy when they told me last Monday that I got the job. So
That's really good. I appreciate you being on today, and I thought it was a really good show. I thought we had a lot of good advice for people, and so I really appreciate you coming on. You want to say goodbye to everybody? We're going to close out here in a minute.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye everybody.
If you want to find me, I'm at LittleZots.com and HorrorFam.com, and if you want to see where I'm working as the editor, that's WellMe.com.
WellMe.com. All right, everybody, have a good week, and we'll see you next week.